Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring guests and topics that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very excited to have with me Albino Sanchez, and let me talk to you a little bit about his background. So he is an entrepreneur, CEO, and executive coach, leading teams and executives through change while shaping organizational cultures and achieving big, hairy, and audacious goals. Albino's purpose is to transform lives and organizations through leadership and culture within sports, education, and coaching and consulting. Expert general management and operations executive specializing in leadership from strategy development to excellence in execution. Known for delivering top and bottom line results in software, energy, higher education, government, enterprise, and logistics. Recognized as a human-centric leader, creating and developing high-performing teams built on trust and growth. Passionate in driving cultures that promote enablement, ownership, and accountability. Today, I thought it would be great to talk about a topic that, as a project manager, I often saw this trying to be avoided at all costs and causing a lot of frustration to the management team. So we're going to talk about navigating change and strategies for CEOs and executives. So please join me in welcoming Albino Sanchez. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time of the day it is there.
Hi, Vicki. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I'm really happy to be here, and it's an honor for me.
So we always start with a very easy question, and that's just to let our audience know, what part of country do you live in? Where do you call home?
Well, I'm currently living in Palo Alto, California. I moved 2 years ago from Mexico City, and that's where I call home. That's
Yes.
my hometown. I was born in Mexico City.
Well, welcome to the U.S.
Thank you.
So let's just get into this. Please, I gave all of your accolades of your great background of what you've done, but I like to always ask you to talk about your backstory of what was the journey like that took you to where you are today.
Sure. Well, it's been a long journey. I've been doing many things, and well, I started off in college. My career was in administration and finance, and I started working in jobs that required finance. So I was, actually also some entrepreneurship. I worked for my father at the beginning while I was in college at a convenience store that he owned. And so that was my first experience as a business owner. I was not the owner, but I was, my father put me in charge of a team. That was my first experience managing a team. So it was really challenging for me at the moment. I was very young, and so I learned a lot from that. And then later on, I decided to look for a job, and it was a little stressful for me because my dad wanted me to continue working with him, right? But I I thought that it was going to be helpful for me to, to start being, someone that looks for a job and that not being a worker that his father is the owner, right?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that was not easy, and so I wanted to learn what it was, not to be the son of the owner, and to start learning from the bottom, and start climbing the corporate ladder. No, that was my plan. So I started working in finance. I was the treasurer of Mattel, the toy company. This was in Mexico. So it was really interesting experience as a treasurer. I was in charge of all the transactions, and so, and then my father-in-law invited me to work with him, and it was I was not trying to work with family, but this was a unique opportunity because he was uh, creating a new position for strategic management. Um, strategic management manager, strategic management position. So this position was interesting because he wanted us to implement balanced scorecard, which was something really new at the moment, and it was really interesting. And he wanted me to do it with an external consultant. So that was something that really influenced my career, because at that moment I really got really passionate about strategy, about working with a consultant. The job of a consultant, I really liked it. So after a year, this was a project, and we implemented, and it was successful. After that, I married his daughter, and and we lived for a year in Madrid, in Spain, where I started my master's degree. And when I came back, I decided to become a consultant, and in strategy. So there was an amazing career. I learned a lot, different projects in different companies. I worked with a lot of leadership teams. This was really an amazing experience for me. And then I started working for companies, as a strategic planning director for large companies in Mexico. So this gave me the other perspective. I already had the consulting perspective, and now I was hiring consultants from time to time. So that was like rounding up my perspective on management, and then I had the opportunity to start a consulting firm with a partner, and this then we didn't get along very well after a year and a half, and I decided to leave, and well, then I was invited to be a CEO for a software startup in Mexico, so I did that for 5 years, and then we moved here, and I started my own business, and actually I'm starting 3 companies right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started like a year and a half, and my first company is in consulting and executive coaching. I'm an executive coach I've been a coach for 10 years now, and my second company is in education. We want to create an elementary and middle school that really innovates in the way we teach kids. We want to give them perspective on the real life. I mean, business, finance, the skills that they are going to need, for in their lives, that we don't usually get them at such young age. And my third business is in sports. I'm gonna bring to the U.S. A new sport. It's a racket sport called paddle, Padel, and it's a combination of squash and tennis. So yeah, that's my journey up to now.
Wow, that's so interesting. We could have 3 podcasts over each of those companies for sure.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about change strategies. So in your experience, what are some common challenges that CEOs and executives face when they're navigating a significant organizational change. And, I think after COVID, even during COVID, was the norm. Change was the norm. So talk to us about what you've seen.
Sure. Well, I've seen that, the traditional approach to change management has been that, a small group of leaders in the organization, usually the CEO and their C-suite team, they usually, go to maybe an offsite meeting, and they define the big strategy for the next year. And after that, they come up with a list of projects, big projects, and then they realize that they need some help to communicate those projects so that people really collaborate, right? That's more or less the scope, or the way we historically we've seen change management. So it was a tool to communicate employees about a big project that's going to be, generate a lot of changes in the organization, but we need to convince those employees. We need them to have clarity on the project. Okay, but this has been evolving, this approach to change management, and actually I partnered with Acertare. Acertare is a firm it's a global firm that they've been working in change management consulting for many years, and we have adopted all those frameworks, and our approach to change management is very different. Our approach is we consider that the employee's perspective is so valuable that we cannot just not see it and just try to communicate in one way, right? We need to take into consideration their vision, their perspective, right? So that's the challenge now that I would like to answer in your question. I think the challenge now is how to align the company's vision, that's the vision of the C-suite, right, with the different visions that our employees may have, because they know the market, they know our product or service, they know the company, and they may have different visions and different ideas, right? So our main challenge is to first get to know those visions, right? And then to align the visions. Okay, so we need to make sure that our decisions, okay, are fair to all employees as well, right? And also that our communication is really honest and open, and that we communicate in both ways, not just one way. So we need to create those spaces to listen to them, to understand what they are seeing, right? And then finally, all those changes that we are gonna implement or generate, we need to take into consideration people that may be displaced. Maybe they need to move to another position, or maybe need to leave the company. Maybe we need to provide an adequate support for them. Okay, so we need to take care of our people. That will be the main challenge.
Yeah. And, I've seen it in all my 40 years of doing this, where the time where change was best managed was whenever the mission and the goals were not held close to the management team, but they actually took the time to. So I always had a manager or a mentor who sat with us to talk about what the change was, why it was happening, and the different areas that they looked at, so that it wasn't. A lot of times I think people think when they just hear that change that it's just they don't look at all the broad perspective of it. They don't look at the whole story, the hind story of it. And when you have that information, then you can make a more informed decision. And so I think it's awesome that you trust your people that you hired, and as you say, that know the business maybe closer than you do because you're more frontline, to help you be able to communicate that in a better way.
Totally. Yeah,
So,
taking into consideration that people have other perspectives and we need to listen to them. Take those into consideration.
Yeah. So how do you recommend to leaders to balance the need for that stability with the inevitable change that's going to occur? And again, looking at our environment today, from technology to changing the business models and everything, change happens in this fast-paced world. Change is going to happen. So how do you help those leaders understand? How do you recommend that they balance that stability with knowing that there's going to be instability? It's that roller coaster ride.
Sure. Well, actually, we need to to be aware, and we need to, accept that there's stability is no longer something that we can expect in business. Change is what we need to expect. There's change everywhere, all the time. Technology, communication, economy, with our market, changes. Everything changes. A competition. So change is now the rule, not the exception. That's the first thing we need to accept.
Yeah.
Even if we don't like it, right? So from that standpoint, we need to continuously try to be ahead of change. What I mean is, we need, as an organization, we need to be on top of things. What I mean is, hey, what are the trends? What's happening in the market? What we need to, be close to the clients, to what what their experience. We need to listen to them. We need to see what the competition is doing. So that's something we need to do. We need to, be on top of things regarding technology, AI, machine learning, etc., and see how this may affect our business, our industry, or how can we embrace it and we can turn it in our favor, right? So that's a much better approach, to not try to be stable, because I won't change my plan. I don't want, any waves here. No, that's not a good approach. The approach that you need to is be open and learn continually from your environment and try to, be ahead of things, try to adapt, be flexible, adaptable. That's the new, skill that we leaders need to have nowadays. No, the skill to adapt, to be flexible, adaptable. So I think that something is important is we need to reaffirm our organization's core values, while navigating through change. That's the way to provide a stability anchor, maybe, in organization, because so that people know that, okay, those are the values, and that's my anchor. But around that, there's a lot of change, okay, and that's part of our culture. That's the way we operate, okay. And also, we need to take into consideration the human impacts of decisions, right? And we need to be willing to adjust plans based on ethical considerations. And finally, we need to offer continuous support, right, to help employees adapt, including training, counseling, etc. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. That you always will have people that even if you hire them and you ask them, how they feel about change and flexibility and adaptability, they're in that interview, they're going to be very positive and everything. But whenever it comes slam in their face, it's a different story sometimes. So you will have resistance and you need to overcome it. And I think, as you were mentioning, that communication is really, really important.
Totally. Yes, communication is key, but we need to move apart from the traditional communication, which is one way, right? And now we need to start communicating in both ways, or in multiple ways, so that this becomes more a conversation than a communication.
Yes,
that's
sir.
That's the challenge there.
Yes, I own that URL. Just a conversation.
Yeah.
All right. So with the increasing pace of the technology enhancements, we, as leaders, to stay ahead and to lead our organizations through this digital transformation, what kind of, as you consult with them, what kind of advice do you give them? Or is there a new person, a new C-suite person that we should have that handles that constant revolution of change that we have? Not a lot of companies do have a change management person. Is that a position that we should have?
Well, yes. There's some companies that already have in place, chief transformation officer, for example. This is like this person oversees, the evolution of the culture of the company, and they also, oversee the implementation of big initiatives or projects, but they have a big focus on people, right, and communications, but it's like a combination of organizational development and a little bit of project management and communication. So yes, we're starting to see more and more of that, right, and I think that's the right way to go, right, because these people, these positions or these new roles, they are aware of this resistance that people, that employees may have, because they resist, not necessarily because they want to hijack the project, and because they are afraid of something, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they have a reaction. We don't like much here with Acertare. We don't like much thinking of this as a resistance, but a reaction. And we need to see why are they reacting? What's the reaction towards? And once we understand that, we do that through listening to them, as I was telling you, and being open, humble, etc., and take those fears into consideration and do something about them. Okay, and so this person, this position, is going to oversee all that effort, right? But not just from the HR department, which usually happens, or not from the project management department. So we are like integrating this role into something that goes more like a strategic organizational development, right? I think that's very interesting, because it's more like a position that oversees, that unites several departments at a strategic level of the organization. And because usually we have seen internal communication as part of HR, right? And we need to stop doing that. We need to see this as a strategic role that unites all departments into one culture. Okay.
Yeah. I was on a large project once where I wasn't the project lead, but I was the next in line, if you will. And it became very evident that I not only did the project management, but I did the change management. I was the change agent. And then we actually brought in a person who was the change champion, I think is what we called her. But she reached out then to all the various groups that this was going to impact, and got change agents within those groups. And just as you said, we had meetings and conversations with them so we could understand where there were fears and where there was anxiety. And I love that we talk about the fact that you are a human-centric leader, and that's the leadership that I teach it. And it is to have that empathy for those people. And I think when you do that, then the openness can come out to be even better than maybe what the original team was wanting to do.
Totally. As I was saying before, this approach to change management puts our employees at the center. Their fears, their perspectives, we need to listen to them, but take those into consideration. And from there, we are going to realize that our initiatives are going to be much more successful because we collaboratively build the change management, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that the C-suite created with the help of a consultant. It's now something that we as a company, as a team, created together. And when employees feel like you genuinely listen to them and take their advice or their ideas into consideration, they're going to commit and they're going to really be much more motivated, right? Because they're going to see that you authentically are interested in their input, right? So yeah, that's a game changer.
And I think that was another important point you made, that in the communication, it's always better when you call out the reason we're doing A is because we heard B from you, and this is a direct, result of that. That is and then people feel that they were heard, and the trust grows, and the people will buy in. I think that's the key word. People buy in and become loyal to the success of that program or that project or that initiative. And that works so much better than saying, this is what you're going to do, kind of like the moms, because I said so.
Totally. And that, something that we do here in our company, AHA Impact, is that we help leaders, CEOs, we help them to manage their organization in a different way. The traditional way of managing is through command and control, right? Yeah. There's our org chart is usually a pyramid or a triangle, right? Which assumes that the higher you are in the pyramid, you're allowed to make decisions, and you're the one that says where should we go, and the ones that are at the bottom are the ones that need to follow those orders, right? So we are helping organizations transition from that obsolete model into a new one, which is instead of seeing our team as a pyramid, we need to generate cells, groups, teams. Yes. That each team has different people from different departments that are interacting, and those cells are close to the market. We empower them, we give them resources, they can make decisions, and they can deliver innovation. Also, we give them empowerment so that they can be creative, and they give the best service possible to their market, because they know the market better than corporate office many times, right? But once you empower them and give them resources, this could be very, very powerful, right? And there's a few examples of that, and that's something we're helping organizations to do, to transition to that other model. And in this other model, this new approach to change management is a perfect fit, right? Because we are considering people as highly intelligent, creative, and that we trust them with resources so that they make the decisions that they consider are the best for the market. And from there, we are decentralizing decision making and management, and that's something we need to do, because nowadays there's so many changes that it's very difficult to try to steer the company from the corporate office and trying to control everything. And many things, you cannot control so many things. But when you start, releasing that command and control and giving them more empowerment, then they are more flexible, adaptable, and the company starts, really flourishing. And that's a very, very interesting new way of managing people and managing an organization.
It's kind of interesting to me because the company that I was with for all those years, they started out decentralized.
Mm.
And as they grew and became public, and then they started to make the group, the regions less and less and less. And the whole idea was, almost to get to two, east and west kind of thing, and then international. And that's when things didn't work out as well, I think, and from seeing it both ways, I think that's what influenced my belief in changing management style too.
Actually, that usually happens when companies, when you're starting a company, you are more into in the B model, no? But I just described the A model, which is the triangle and the pyramid, and the B model. There's an organization that calls this B model the beta model, beta codex model. And so I can also share a link for that. And so we're using that model. And what they say is that when you are into the beta model, at the beginning we are all in that model because we don't have the resources to have to hire so many people, to have so many specializations. So we do a lot of things, each one of us, and we are a team, a small team, and we are really dynamic and creative, right? That's the first stages of an entrepreneurship model. So we are in beta model, but when there's a moment, maybe past a couple of years, and that you're successful and you're starting to have more resources, and you can start hiring people, then you start transforming into the A model. Okay, that's what companies tend to do, but we need to realize that, and we need to resist the temptation. There's many times it's difficult, very difficult, because you have this, for example, if you have investors, they are, what are you doing? Hey, you need to hire the best marketing director, and then you start creating those silos, right? We need to resist the temptation of doing that, and if you don't know how to do it, there's frameworks, and this beta codex framework is available, and I'm gonna share the link, and we help organizations to implement this. And that's the best moment whenever you are ready to scale your company, to start using this model, so that you don't need to go into the A model, which is going to make you much more bureaucratic, less flexible, less adaptable. So change is going to be more difficult to implement in that A model than in the beta model.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so time is flown by. We probably have to get together again, and well, we do, since I want to talk to you about your other companies too. But
sure.
Just wanted to ask you, I know that you're doing a collaborative book, or you're in a collaborative book, and I just wondered if you could share a little bit about what that book is, and when it should be available to everyone.
Sure. The name of the book is Cracking the Rich Code. I'm a co-author with many other co-authors. Each one of us, we wrote a chapter in the book, and this book is a series of books. This is the volume number 11. This has been a very successful series of books. The main author, the person that organized this, his name is Jim Britt. Jim Britt is a globally recognized coach, and he's been bringing together entrepreneurs to share their story. So that's what you can read in this book. Is each one of us co-authors, we share our journey through entrepreneurship in our lives. We share our ups and downs. So it's very, very interesting that you can learn from others, from their learnings, and how each one of those learnings build up into whom they are right now, and that's very interesting. So yes, I recommend your
Cracking the Rich Code.
Cracking the Rich Code. I'm going to share the link with you as well. And actually, you can find it in Amazon. It's now becoming a best-selling book in Amazon.
So we will make sure we add that to the show notes and to the slide. It will be updated. So when you all see this, it will have a picture of what that looks like and the link to be able to go ahead and get that book. But we are going to share that slide right now for you to see contact information. If you have enjoyed hearing what Albino has said to you today, want to know more about his companies, I will let you have access to his website and LinkedIn. So let me share my screen. You know the drill. If you were just listening in, you should go ahead and get a paper and pencil real quick. But everything will be on my YouTube channel as well as the findyourleadershipconfidence.com website. All right, so Albino's website is www.ahaimpact. So that's AHA Impact. I love that.
Impact. Yeah.
AHAimpact.com.
That's correct.
And the LinkedIn, you can find him by his name, and that's Albino Sanchez, Albino Sanchez is Sanchez. So LinkedIn and website are the two sources you have right now. Don't forget, the book will be on this slide, so you'll be able to see what it looks like, and that is Cracking the Rich Code. I'm going to let Albino talk to you about what you might find on his website or when you go and visit him on LinkedIn. Go ahead.
Sure. You can find a link where you can book a call with me, and we can talk about your challenges and see which one of our frameworks can be helpful for you, and to see if we can collaborate in any way. So I'll be more than happy to have this discovery call, and we can explore possibilities. And well, one of my main solutions is executive coaching. And so we can also do a trial or a free coaching session, just so that you get a sense of what you can get from these very insightful conversations with these several frameworks that we work with. So yeah, I'll be happy to have you reach out to me, and let's have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, it's been great sharing information. You gave a lot of wonderful tips, and as a person been there, done that, have the t-shirt, I say, you know what you're talking about. And I do recommend that everyone do check out his website, take advantage of the discovery call, see if there's any way that Albino can help you. But as always, thank you for being a wonderful guest. And I remind you and the audience that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.